Hi, welcome to this video presentation by Unknown India YouTube channel. Please view it on a laptop or desktop or tablet for better video quality and use a headphone, earphone or earbuds for better audio quality. The Indian civilization is fascinating with several unique aspects. We all think that we have a very good understanding of it, but there are several misconceptions about the Indian civilization, mainly due to ignorance, but sometimes also due to prejudice. In part 1 of the video, we addressed misconceptions numbers 1 to 5, and in this part 2 of the video, we shall address misconceptions numbers 6, 7 and 8. In this video, we will address and remove these misconceptions based on authentic information derived from solid evidence based on official documented archaeological excavation reports of the Archaeological Survey of India and research papers and articles by eminent persons published in both international and Indian journals of repute. All the references to these and other resources used in this video are given in the description below. Please check them out. We are very grateful to the following modern experts for their contributions to bring out and propagate the truth highlighted in this video through their writings in articles and books, online podcasts and videos. Late B.B. Lal, eminent archaeologist and past Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India and his associates who were responsible for several major excavations. Srikant Talagiri, Vedic historian. Padma Bhushan Dr. David Frawley, or Pandit Vamadeva Sastri as he is also known, a great scholar and guru, director of the American Institute of Vedic Studies. Padma Shri Subhash Kak, Professor Emeritus of Oklahoma State University, Indian American computer scientist and researcher of Indian heritage and knowledge systems. Late Navaratna S. Rajaram, scholar and historian. Dr. Raj Vedam, Houston-based expert in applied mathematics, engineering, algorithms and computer science, researcher of Indian heritage and knowledge systems and director of Arsha Vidya Satsanga, a non-profit organization focused on Indic education based in Houston. We have provided links to some of the resources authored by these experts in the description below. Please check them out. Misconception number 6. Harappan and Vedic cultures were totally different and had no common aspects. This is a rather not so clever spin by the European Indologists as a side story to the evidence-less Aryan invasion theory or AIT, which we demolished in part 1 of this video. Please check out this video if not viewed already at the link we have provided in the description below. This was to support the preposterous hypothesis that the Vedic culture brought by the invading Aryans replaced the Harappan culture. There is not only no evidence at all for this, but on the other hand, there is overwhelming evidence to prove that there were several common aspects of the Vedic culture and the Harappan civilization, and they coexisted. We shall now look at some of that evidence. We are directly and very specifically told by the Rigvedic composers in categorical words that the Vedic people were the inhabitants of the banks of a particular river. Rigveda verse 96.2 of the 7th mandala says, Purus live on the banks of the Saraswati. This is direct and categorical reference to the Purus, the very tribe who represent the Vedic Indo-Aryans and are the people of the book. It is also found in the other old books of Rigveda. Obviously, the Purus must have belonged to early Harappan period of 3200 to 2600 BCE or even earlier because 1. Saraswati started drying up after that and was totally dried up by 1900 BCE. Secondly, they are mentioned in the third earliest book of the Rigveda, namely Mandala 7. It therefore can be deduced that there were several tribes of early Harappans and one of them were the Purus. Also that the Vedic people were a subset of Harappans. In other words, some tribes followed the Vedic religion, others did not. Rigveda hymn number 101 of Mandala 10 describes in several verses the various steps involved in farming and agriculture, such as yoking of the bulls, ploughing, sowing the seeds, watering through a canal from a well, etc. There are several references to agricultural implements in the Rig Veda. The grains such as paddy, wheat and barley are also mentioned in the Rig Veda. Granaries discovered in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal and Rakhigarhi give the most direct evidence of agricultural activity in the Harappan sites. Grains found at Harappan sites include wheat, barley, lentil, chickpea and sesame. Millets are also found from some sites in Gujarat. So it is fairly clear that both for the Vedic people and the Harappans, farming and agriculture were the primary food producing occupations. Other cultural evidences include the animals bull or Rishabha in Sanskrit and horse or Ashwaha, mentioned several times in different books or mandalas of the Rig Veda. Seal and terracotta figurines of the bull and terracotta figurines as well as skeletal remains of horse have been discovered in several Harappan sites. Cultural artifacts such as terracotta figurines of the Namaste gesture, women's Sindoor Tilak and hair parting have also been found. Religious and spiritual evidences include artifacts such as both large stone Shivalinga and terracotta figurines of Shivalinga, seal of Pashupati, a form of Lord Shiva, fire altars in 3 different shapes found in the common areas of Harappan sites like the citadel, terracotta figurines of yoga poses. All these artifacts correspond to Vedic references in Rig Veda and other Vedas, as well as other Vedic texts. Greater details of these evidences are available in our video as per the link provided in the description below. From the evidences given to you in this video so far, it is very clear that both the Vedic people and Harappans or Indus Saraswati people lived in overlapping time periods in the same geographical regions and followed identical occupational, cultural and religious practices. Maybe one was a subset of the other. Is it not then ridiculous or mischievous to claim, as some Indologists and historians do, that they were totally different people? I leave the final judgment of this question to you viewers. Misconception number 7. India was always a poor country through the ages. This is perhaps the worst possible lie told about India, mainly by the British but also by other Westerners. 2 eminent economists have exposed this lie. Angus Madison, economic historian from Netherlands, has done phenomenal research for quantification of GDP, that is gross domestic product, of countries and regions right from the distant past, that is from the beginning of Common Era. We have given the reference to his famous book on this titled World Economy Historical Statistics, acclaimed and available with OECD, that is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, in the description below. You can check it out if you are interested. What you now see on the screen is a graph depicting the GDP contribution of different geographic regions and India from year 1 to 2003 of Common Era, calculated by him based on elaborate data and sound analysis. It is obvious that India had the highest GDP share of the world at 25% till 1500 of Common Era. Rapid decline starting with the entry of the East India Company in early 17th century, further accelerated by the takeover of Indian territory by the British Empire in 1858, went on for a very long time until India's GDP share was reduced to a miserable 5% or even less in 1947 when the British finally left India. What caused such a drastic decline in India's economic fortune? We'll find out. Will Durant, an American historian and philosopher, came to India in 1930 to gather material on Indian civilization for his research on world civilization and history. He was shocked to find the state of affairs in India then. In his own words, I was filled with astonishment and indignation at the apparently conscious and deliberate bleeding of India by England. Throughout 150 years, I began to feel that I had come upon the greatest crime in history. These strong emotional words are backed up by elaborate analysis of enormous observations and data in his powerful book titled The Case for India, for which we have provided the link below in the description. Please check it out if interested. Dr. Raj Vedam, in his talk titled Indian Civilization, The Untold Story at the Sangam Talks, with the video link given below in description, gives a summary of the ways in which both the East India Company and the British government did this, as expounded by Will Durant in his book. 1. Indians were forced to sell raw materials very cheaply but buy finished goods at exorbitant prices through very high import duties and export duties on finished goods. 2. Indians were taxed twice as high as in England and thrice as high as in Scotland. 3. Millions of dollars worth of bribes from rulers who were dependent on favors and guns. 4. The cost of British conquests, including the First and Second World Wars, developments in Britain, and administrative costs in India were all charged to Indians. Because of all this, Indians were not only impoverished, the British, when they left in 1947, left us with a huge national debt. The systematic drain of wealth from India was first pointed out by the duo of Dadabhai Naoroji, politician, scholar and merchant, celebrated as the Grand Old Man of India, and Ramesh Chandra Dutt, a great scholar and economic historian, over a century ago in their writings based on their path-breaking research. Building on this research with her own research, the eminent economist Utsa Patnaik wrote a brilliant essay, first published as part of a collection of essays by the Columbia University Press and later by an Indian publisher. In this essay, she uses meticulous analysis of price and tax data from 1765 to 1938. We have provided a link to a downloadable PDF version of this article in the description below. Please check it out if you are interested. Patnaik has used the valuation of export surplus of India in these years, which was directly transferred to England, mostly through Indian goods re-exported to other countries. We should remember that from 1890, for at least 4 decades, Indian farmers and weavers produced the second highest global export surplus, mainly from agricultural products and yarn, re-exported to the world from England. Indians were paid a measly amount as price for the products sent to England, out of just almost 1/3 of the exorbitant taxes imposed on them. In effect, the British were getting Indian products for free but earning massive foreign exchange through re-exports to the world. Patnaik has quantified this global export surplus of India, which was stolen by Britain. Through this process, England drained $45 trillion, that is 3,735 lakh crores of rupees at current exchange rate. This is 83 times India's total budget on both revenue and capital accounts for the financial year 2023 to 24. Can you now get a sense of the enormity of the loot? We urge upon the UK government to return this money, together with the Kohinoor diamond stolen from India, now adorning the British crown, along with an apology to the Indian people and government for the genocide of thousands of Indians who died during artificial famines created by Britain and in the mass shootings as in Jallianwala Bagh massacre. We shall be thankful if any of you who watch this video can raise your voice in the right places in support of this demand, in your own legal and peaceful way, like telling more people about it or writing to the government of UK or in any other way. Misconception number 8. Indian astronomy was copied from Greeks and other Westerners. This lie was propagated by several Westerners calling themselves scholars. They were led by David Pingree, a teacher of mathematical history at Brown University, Rhode Island, USA. The lie was that the Indian astronomers copied the Greeks after 300 BCE when the Magad Empire came into contact with them. The second lie, Indians could not have made astronomical observations because they lacked the tools and appliances. They spread these canards without providing any proof or reading of any of the astronomical or Vedic texts containing astronomical data and references properly. We will disprove these lies with some instances of the three types of evidence of astronomical knowledge of ancient Indians. 1. Discoveries of ancient Indian astronomers long before the Greeks. 2. Record of astronomical events of great antiquity in ancient Indian texts. And 3. Instruments and devices used by ancient Indian astronomers. The heliocentric theory was first proposed in the Taittiriya Samhita of the Krishna Yajurveda dated around 2350 BCE. We have a video on its dating and a link is provided in the description below. This Taittiriya Samhita hymn goes thus: Mitro dhadare prithvi muta dhyam mitraha krishtihi. Its meaning, the sun holds the earth and the celestial region. The sun is the attracting power. The Greek astronomer and mathematician Aristocrates proposed the same thing in the 3rd century BCE, and the model was later perfected by the Prussian astronomer Copernicus in 1543 CE. Thus, the Indians knew the heliocentric theory at least 2000 years before the Greeks. Today, even middle school children know that all planets go around the sun in elliptical paths. But it is believed that it was only in 1609 of Common Era that Johannes Kepler, the German mathematician and astronomer, discovered this first law of planetary motion. But most of us do not know that this law, stipulating elliptical orbits for planets, was already known to our rishis, as expounded in a Rigvedic hymn. For details, you can view this video, link provided in description below. The time of composition of the 10 mandalas or books of the Rigveda is dated to 4500 to 1900 BCE, with the later mandalas having been composed later. Even assuming very conservatively that Mandala 1, to which this hymn belongs, was composed as late as in 1900 BCE only, we can infer very easily that Indians of Vedic period knew about this at least 3500 years before Kepler. We also have a detailed video on Age of Rigveda. Interested persons can check out its link in the description below. In addition to the Earth revolving around the Sun and rotating around its own axis, tilted by about 23.5 degrees to the vertical, it has a third movement. It wobbles in space like an out-of-balance top. That is, the axis of rotation of the Earth is not constant. It moves around, creating a virtual double cone in space. This is called axial precession. It is caused by the gravitational influence of the Sun and the Moon acting on the Earth's equatorial bulge. Planets also exert some influence, though to a much lesser extent. Because of this axial precession of the Earth, the observed positions of stars in the sky seem to be different at different points of time. It was important for ancient Vedic Indians to know the positions of stars for purposes of performing rituals. Therefore, they adjusted their calendars several times during the Rigvedic period, as the star in the vernal equinox signifying the year beginning would shift. This has been explained in detail by Bal Gangadhar Tilak in his book Aryan, or the Antiquity of the Vedas. If this is not amazing enough for you, please be surprised further by the ingenuity and knowledge of astronomy of ancient Indians. Surya Siddhanta, a very ancient text of astronomy, has calculated this axial precession as 54 arc seconds per year. A second, as you know, is 1/60th of a minute, and a minute is 1/60th of a degree. This is astonishingly close to the most modern estimate of 50.3 arc seconds per year, corresponding to the full wobble cycle of axial precession of 25,771.5 years as calculated by NASA. Hipparchus, the Greek astronomer celebrated by Western scholars, could not come anywhere close with his terrible estimate of 36 arc seconds per year. Later, the Indian astronomer Aryabhatta in 499 CE estimated at 48 arc seconds and Bhaskara too at 48.6 arc seconds around 1150 CE. Please check out our other videos in the full playlist and also subscribe to our channel by clicking the respective links. Thank you.